49ers on Sunday. And with the latest on the reaction from Foxborough, the fallout, and how they move ahead and try to fix this thing, here is our very own Mike Giardi.
It is rare for Cam Newton to ever get benched, but that is exactly what happened in the second half of Sunday's loss to the San Francisco 49ers. The Patriots quarterback throwing 3 interceptions and a season-low quarterback rating of 39.7. That, my friends, is not good, and Newton said he understands. He said, but no, his health is fine, and that of his surgically repaired shoulder, he insists. His mechanics, he said, aren't too far gone to be fixed. However, he did admit that perhaps he is thinking too much and not reacting as quickly as opposed. The Patriots need to unlock that key and do it quickly because they have scored just 2 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks with Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham, or even Brian Hoyer. It hasn't been good enough.
Not nearly enough for the standard, of course, of Bill Belichick, the fans up there that are used to winning for the past 2 decades. Now, Cam Newton does not appear to have lost any faith in his actual self. He joined WEEI on the Greg Hill Show, and I want you guys to take a listen.
Well, for me, I know I'm better than what I've been putting on film, and that's simple. And I know there's light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, you cannot get to 3 and 4 wins without getting to 1 win. You know, I don't know what funk, spell, or omen that's in, you know, Boogie's household right now, but I have to, you know, let off some chakras, some sage or something.
Chakras and sage, guys. Mike Giardi saying the Patriots have to find the key to their offense. Cam Newton suggesting those magical sort of incense to cleanse the funk. How can the Patriots get out of the funk that they're in? Let's go with you, Garofalo.
Well, I mean, short of curing COVID and going back in time and getting rid of the opt-out list when they lost guys like Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung and Marcus Cannon, and I can keep going down the list. How do you now inject that at this point? I mean, the only option is the trade deadline, right? The only option is to be active and to start bringing in guys. I don't think that that's the answer, but doing nothing is not going to solve anything for the Patriots right now. Look at this team. I mean, do you really think this team can compete with the Kansas Cities and the Pittsburghs and the Tennessees of the world right now? No, I don't. And I would also say this with regards to the deadline. Maybe you're a seller. Maybe you're talking about this funk as possibly being a multi-year funk, and you've got to start thinking about what you're going to do in 21 and beyond. I mean, those are the options that I would present to the Patriots right now, because doing nothing and hoping that this is going to turn around doesn't seem like it's going to work.
Yeah, it's wild to see the Patriots, Mike, if they were the team that says if you can haul it, you can have it, and take whatever you want. I can't imagine that just philosophically as how they run their company. How do they get out of the funk? It's going to be really hard. The good news is you're playing Buffalo, and maybe that doesn't sound like good news on the surface, but it should be for the Patriots. I don't care how bad you're playing. You beat Buffalo every single time. You never lost to McDermott. You never lost to Allen. You own those guys. Go and get right a little bit. This is the type of team and the type of time in the season where if this was high school or even college, the coaches would do dizzy bats in practices and have an ice cream truck go because the energy is that bad and it's that weird. I think it's actually a good thing they're going to play Buffalo because at least they have a psychological edge, if nothing else. Now, I don't know if Cam has that because he hasn't been here. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm starting to believe that there's just something off with Cam. And I'm starting to wonder if something got in between his ears when he tested positive for COVID and when he got put on that list because physically he seems to be okay, but he has not been the same athlete. He's not been the same person since that happened. His body language is tied for the worst in the league with probably Mike McCarthy. It doesn't look like him at all. We all made this big to-do about how happy he was in the dancing in preseason, and then as this continued in the regular season, I don't recognize this athlete right now, and I don't recognize this person. You probably saw Jeff Garcia, the ex-quarterback, took a run at him for his clothes and why are you wearing these ostentatious outfits after losses? It's kind of a wildly hot take. Cam responded, he's like, yeah, I think he's right. I mean, that doesn't sound like Cam to me. Cam also said that his worst nightmare was when his teammate, Stephon Gilmore, also was placed on the list, and he was wondering if maybe it was my fault. This is one of the most unique psychological athletes we have in this league, the ups and the downs. If something got in this guy's head and he got the blues or he got depressed or he got rattled because seeing his name next to the words COVID-19 and seeing his teammates next to those words, I don't know if he's gone somewhere where he's not locked in and he's not focused and he's in some kind of fog. I don't know how to fix that. I am neither a psychologist nor a doctor. Neither is Bill Belichick, though. And if that is the case, this could be another long, long season, because if Cam goes psychologically, like, I don't know how you get him back. There's not another quarterback on the roster that's going to do it, and they're not going to get a new one at the deadline. It's Cam.
Kyle, you might be right. You know, Cam Newton is distinctly different from when he started this year, where he was dancing around, having fun, big smile on his face, to even now, he's not that same dude. Cam Newton's saying, light the sage up, let's tap into some chakras. You know, maybe they need to sit and meditate and try to open up their third eye, because maybe that will help on third down. They're struggling. I mean, they're bottom 10 when it comes to third down completions. And here's the thing about Cam Newton. When we first started the season off, we knew that they could run the ball well. And then the offense started to catch a rhythm, and all of a sudden there was that break because of COVID-19. And it seemed from there they were never able to recapture that magic. For me, it is about practice, practice, practice. And I know this seems very simple, but if I'm the Patriots and I'm allowed to practice with my guys now, of course, that's fine. But if you're not staying on the field an extra hour, maybe 2, and I'm not talking about running wind sprints or throwing 1,000 balls so you can get the perfect timing with your wide receiver. I'm just talking about sitting down and talking. We forget that Cam Newton, out of all the quarterbacks, had the least amount of time to learn the playbook. But I think what we're noticing now, even more importantly, had the least amount of time to get to know his teammates. And when he drops back on third down, on crucial down, he's looking for his wide receivers. They're looking somewhere else, and Cam is looking at them, and they are not clicking. So they need to sit down and just talk, hash this out, because if they're not on the same page, this offense won't move. I don't care how well Cam looks. I don't care how fast he runs, and I don't care how many running backs they can rotate in that lineup throughout the season. If he can't connect with the wide receivers, this offense isn't going nowhere, which means this team isn't going anywhere either.
But the playbook and not knowing it and the chemistry, Nate, doesn't really make sense, because he was playing great, like great football he was. And since the COVID diagnosis, to Kyle's point, 5 interceptions, not a single touchdown. It's like a buck and change through the air. He looks like somebody zapped his powers. I said it yesterday. He also said, Nate, I don't fear my position stability more so than controlling the locker room. Performances like yesterday jeopardize that. It's like, oh my God, players talk, and that's what's most important to me. Is there something that you think his teammates can do? What would you do if you were in that locker room and maybe there was some truth to this being a little bit between the ears?
Maybe it is. And we forget that in the beginning of the season when Cam Newton was playing well, there was a certain amount of playbook that Cam knew. Now that we're halfway through the season, is he still running that same playbook where teams can pick up on the tendencies? Can Bill Belichick look at Cam Newton and say, all right, now let's open up the next chapter? Or is Cam Newton still stuck on that first chapter saying, I only know the plays from the first quarter of the season. I don't need you to put too much more on my plate. I believe the reason why there is a struggle is because now the defenses have Cam on film in a Patriots uniform, and they can pick up on the tendencies. They know the plays that are coming, and they don't have the extended playbook that Belichick and Tom Brady once had. And to your question, Kay, no. The teammates can't walk up to him, pat him on the back, and say, Cam, you're going to be all right. There is no secret formula or secret sauce or secret juice like Michael Jordan in Space Jam. Cam Newton is going to go out there and have to have a big game up against an opponent. That way his confidence will go up. And when Cam's confidence go up and they win a game, guess what? The entire locker room is going to be doing the same thing.
See, I'm trying hard to buy the playbook thing, too, but I'm looking around the league, and I'm seeing Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Kyle Allen, even Nick Foles, who had much more difficult circumstances than Cam Newton, has looked better than Cam Newton even after last night. Like, at some point, I can't hear the excuses. Like, go play ball. You're Cam Newton. It's the worst he's looked in his career. It's not close. It's not that he's not accurate or he's just missing. He can barely throw the ball. It's almost Yip-like. And I would love to be a fly on a wall in a room where he talks to somebody about what's going on in his head, because physically there's nothing wrong with him. I don't buy the playbook thing. I think there is something in his head where he is somehow psychologically disenchanted, and I honestly wonder, and I hope and I fear that it has something to do with COVID-19. That's my theory. I hope he proves me wrong.